Little Nellie of Holy God. Ellen Organ, or Little Nellie of Holy God, born August 24, 1903, died February 2, 1908, was an Irish child, particularly dedicated to the Eucharist. The story of her life inspired Pope Pius X to admit young children to Holy Communion to around 7. She was born in Waterford City, Ireland, the daughter of William Organ and Maria Antoine. She was the youngest of 4 children. While baptized Ellen, she was always called Nellie. Her father had been a laborer, but earning very little. He had joined the army in 1897. In 1905, William was transferred to Spike Island, an island fort situated in Cork Harbour. Here, while the family hoped for better times, Nellie's mother, Mary, fell ill. And for over a year, she struggled to raise her family as her health declined. In January 1907, she died of tuberculosis. With 4 children, all under the age of 9, William found it impossible to raise them and maintain his job. A helpful neighbor helped from time to time, but he was beginning to feel the strain. Meanwhile, Nellie Organ, already a delicate child, was displaying signs of disability. It seems a serious fall as a baby had left its mark. Her spine had become crooked. Her hips and back out of joint caused her constant pain, and as she grew up, she became unable to sit up straight. William finally realized he could not care for the children himself, and in May 1907, he put each of his 4 children into care. Nellie Organ and her sister Mary were sent first to a hospital run by the Sisters of Mercy. The 2 girls were found to be suffering from whooping cough, and then later they were sent to St. Finbarr's Industrial School in Sundayswell in Cork City, administered by the Good Shepherd Sisters. She lived for 8 months under the care of the Good Shepherd Sisters. She spent most of her time in the infirmary. She referred to God as Holy God, and her carers believed that she was having some form of religious experience. She loved to visit the chapel, which she called the House of Holy God, and she was fascinated by the statues and images on display, and in particular by the Stations of the Cross. When told the story of the suffering and death of Jesus, she burst into tears. It is claimed that she developed a mysterious awareness of the Blessed Sacrament. One story relates how she knew a member of staff had not been to Mass that day, even though the young woman said she had. "You did not get Holy God today," the child said. This episode, and others like it, led some Catholics to believe that she had what is referred to as the mystical gift of discernment. Meanwhile, she began to claim to have visions. She related how she saw Christ, usually as a little child like herself, and the Virgin Mary. On a number of occasions, she claimed to have seen the Infant of Prague dancing for her. Her already precocious faith was growing, and those who came to know her testified to her holiness. She so impressed the sisters, they began to entertain the possibility of recommending the child for the sacrament of confirmation. Contacting the local bishop, he agreed. and she was confirmed on October 8, 1907. First Communion. The child soon began to ask to receive Holy Communion. At first, the sisters hesitated. She was too young for that sacrament. Wondering if she understood what the Eucharist was, they observed her at prayer in the chapel and saw that she was captivated by the tabernacle, which she usually referred to as the lockup. Nellie had been born in the army barracks, where the prison was called the lockup. Upon seeing the Eucharist in the tabernacle, she regarded Jesus as the prisoner in the lockup. During Mass, when her carers came back from communion, the child would ask them to kiss her so she could somehow share in their communion. According to the rules of the Roman Catholic Church, no child could receive communion before a certain age. A 4-year-old child was thought to be at least 6 years too young. The sisters spoke with a Jesuit priest who ministered to the community, and while he was hesitant, he decided to come to speak to the child. After spending some time with her, he came to the conclusion that she had reached the age of reason, albeit at an extraordinarily young age. He brought the matter to the bishop's attention, who, after thinking about it for a short while, consented, and Nellie Organ made her first communion on December 6, 1907. Between December 1907 and February 1908, Nellie Organ's health declined. She was in constant pain. Given the times, there was little that could be done. The sisters tried to make her as comfortable as possible. Various visitors, including the Bishop of Cork, noticed her fortitude and her intense prayer life. She was constantly happy. At this stage, tuberculosis had set in, and she was suffering from caries, making it difficult and painful for her to eat. The mouth disease caused a horrible odor, which her caregivers treated with disinfectant. She did not complain of the pain this caused her, as she instead, holding the crucifix in her small hands, contemplated the pain that Christ endured during his crucifixion, stating, "Poor holy God, poor holy God." It was noted by the sisters and nurses that after she began receiving Holy Communion, the smell completely disappeared. All she wanted at this stage was to receive communion. She was also aware that she was going to die soon, and this did not trouble her. It made her happy. In fact, she was looking forward to it. After some 4 years of life, Nellie Organ died at 4 p.m. on the 2nd of February, 1908. Witnesses said she appeared to see something at the foot of her bed, which caused her to smile and her eyes to well with tears. She followed that something with her eyes, looking overhead when she died. She was buried in St. Joseph's Cemetery in Cork. When, a year later, her body was exhumed, it appeared unchanged from the day of her burial, with her limbs flexible and her dress and communion veil like new. Her grave in the public cemetery attracted visitors from all over Ireland, as a result of which authorization was given for her remains to be transferred to the cemetery of the Good Shepherd Sisters in Sundays Well, Cork.